All right, Shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, glory, and fear to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Also, I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth. And peace and salutations to the Lord's hopeful elect, back at it through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Just a quick epistle. Being that in this truth, man, we're gonna have ups and downs, man. You may have a season where you're prospering, all right, or you may have a season where you're not, all right. And we just have to remember, Lord willing, we're of that hopeful elect. No matter what we're going through, it's not gonna last forever, all right. So this is Ecclesiastes 3:1, which is my favorite precepts, because it pretty much sums up everything that we've ever went through and everything that we're gonna go through. All right, it says to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the sun, a time to be born and a time to die. And Lord know, we're prophesying through the spirit that we're coming into a time where we're getting ready to see a lot of people perish at the same time, man. Finna see mass groups of people die. All right, that's a specific period of time that the Lord has allotted, all right, for these things to take place, man. And it goes on to it reads on: a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up. All right, and we know, and when we come into this truth, man, that's what happens to us. We go through a period, all right, and where the Lord is constantly, and every brother's different, but you're constantly getting tore down and built back up, man. The Lord is breaking strongholds, however he does that, through the spirit, and then he'll build you back up with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. All right, but the whole point is it's an actual period of time that the Lord has for these situations to take place. All right, a time to weep and a time to laugh, and that's what we're trying to tell our people. Hey, this is not our rest. The Lord taught us to rather be in the house of mourning than the house of mirth and folly. All right, and that's the spirit that a lot of our people are in, especially our women. All right, and the spirit of just mirth and folly. All right, we're in a time, the Lord's hopeful elect, where we're weeping. All right, we're crying out to Yahweh Shema Shai, while the rest of the world is laughing. A time to mourn and a time to dance. And do we need to talk about the dancing? They go hand in hand. Our people love to dance. I used to dance, but there's a time and place for that. All day, every day, getting on the internet all day, every day, doing all these silly, especially if you're a man, all right, doing all these silly ass dances and pranks ain't it, man. It's not the time for that. Once we get out of here and get into the kingdom, man, we'll have our heart's desires, man. It'd be like a theme park every day, for the Lord's hopeful elect. But we have to get to that point. Right now we're in a specific time period where the Lord is not playing any games, and he's reaching out to that hopeful elect first and foremost. All right, and after the Lord, sends this word out, which is pretty much has gone out throughout the four corners of the earth, then this great tribulation, this time of death and destruction and weeping in the morning, and it won't be no more playing around. It won't be no more laughing. It won't be no more dancing during Jacob's trouble. All right, I'm sure there are a few individuals that will try to hold on to that spirit of mirth and folly, just like they did when the so-called pandemic came through. All right, it's people trying to hold on to that, but they couldn't really do it, man. How much more when we really in Jacob's trouble, the great tribulation? And it says, verse 5, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. All right, just liken unto the Lord, separating that hopeful elect, bringing the brothers together, and weeding out the strays, man. All right, a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. And the Lord taught us he came to bring a sword. That's symbolic for division and war. Set father against his son, mother against her daughter, etc., etc. That's what the Lord, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, that's what he said he came to do. All right, bring a sword, not peace. He didn't come to send peace, but a sword. So we're in that time where it shouldn't be peace on the earth, man. All right, but it's coming on a mass scale, man. Especially if you in the hood, all right, or you get caught up where Esau doing his mass, his mass destruction. Sure, All right, it goes down, man, but it ain't on a mass scale where it's just chaos, chaos everywhere you turn. We're telling you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Shah, that's what's coming during Jacob's trouble. Death, destruction, famine, confusion, chaos. That's why it's so important to be grounded in this truth, man. All right, because stability, wisdom is going to be the stability of these confusing times that's about to take place upon this earth, man. All right. Uh, verse 6, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, and a time to get and a time to lose, man. Again, man, we'll have seasons in this truth, man, where it may be financially, where we're doing pretty good financially. We got a little bit of extra money, or we may be, really, really thankful for that daily bread, man. You may be dealing with a woman one season, you may be dealing with multiple women one season, and then the next, you know what I mean? You're not dealing with nothing. It's for a reason, especially if you want to well, it's all for a reason, but it's for our salvation and our strength. All right. When these things do happen, but the whole point is it's not going to last forever. Easier said than done when you're going through it, or you lose, especially when it comes to losing stuff. You love it when you're prospering and things are going your way, but when the Lord starts to chasten, or you're getting judged, then it's a different story. But we have to remember, if we are the Lord's hopeful elect, and we should be praying that we are and putting on as that elect, it's not going to last forever, man. All right. Verse 7, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. And right now the Lord has his prophets speaking, but guess what? The Lord also prophesied a famine of the word, a famine of hearing the word. So that's going to be a specific time that the Lord is going to bring upon the earth where you're not going to be able to hear and see the prophets anymore. So, all right, so hearing the prophets now, what we're doing through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, this is from the Lord. All right, the Lord has given us this period of time, to prophesy and to learn certain things, and then he's going to change the time into another. All right. In verse 8, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And that's pretty much the point, man, of the prophets, man. We're prophesying war, destruction. All right, the Lord is a man of war. All right, and that's what we're prophesying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah is coming to this place. But no matter what, the whole point being time. We're subject to that on the earth, It doesn't exist, in the heavens, as far as we know, to what the best of our understanding how it works. So, this is just a period of time that we have to go through these things. It gets rough, man. I'm depressed a lot, being, coming from that Iraq war and shit. I got all type of issues that plague my mind, and of course the Lord be dealing, but it gets hard, man, and you get very depressed sometimes, man. But I have to remember myself first and foremost, to trust in the Lord, call upon the Lord, and that whatever I'm going through, especially if I'm of the Lord's hopeful elect, it's not going to last forever, and it's for my benefit. Again, easier said than done, especially when we talk about chastening. All right. But we have to remember that, man. So we just got to stay grounded, keep calling upon the name Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, because we do know the name Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah is a strong tower, and there's power in those names. So we call upon those names when we're in a season of doubt, uncertainty, confusion, weakness. You may be in a, even when it comes to studying, man, you might be in a season where you got, when we all come into the truth, I believe we all have that spirit of being very, very diligent and studying. It's exciting, it's new. And then time, time progresses, and, you may slow down, you see. But you just got to stay in the spirit to the best of your ability. Use your toolkit. Pray, fast, be amongst the brotherhood, be amongst the sisterhood for you sisters, all right? And then, and Lord willing, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah is going to be with us when he changes the times, man, because he's getting ready to do that. We can feel it in the air. And, we're almost done with this phase. And then we got the physical phase next, and then we'll be home, Lord willing. We're of the Lord's hopeful elect, and the Lord will be with us, man. All right, so with that, I want to give all praises, honor, glory, and fear to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah. Till next time, Shalom.